Hey guys, welcome back to another Marketing Monday live stream. Today we are talking artificial intelligence's latest marvel, AI voice technology.
All right, John. So this is going to be a fun live stream, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? Good morning. Happy Monday.
Morning. I heard your voice, but your lips weren't moving. How'd you
We're
do
not
that?
moving, man. So that's today's discussion. We're going to be talking all about the revolution of AI, specifically for conversation, for voice. This is kind of creepy, man. This is one of those topics that there's some ethics involved, and there's a lot of incredible use cases. We've honestly been kind of on the forefront or the cutting edge of kind of, I guess, emerging technology and emerging, AI and things like that. We have found it to be incredibly helpful and fascinating for our own business. And we're going to talk about how maybe this technology can be used in other companies and their businesses. But I think we should talk about the other side of it too, like the dark side. Right?
Yeah.
So
scary
there's a lot
side.
to this. So good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We do little marketing Mondays over here at Beefy Marketing. We go live. Today we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're live on Beefy's Facebook, Beefy's YouTube. We're live on my personal LinkedIn and my personal Facebook. Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks. We took a little break last week from our live stream, but we're back this week for another Marketing Monday for you guys. And me and John this last couple weeks have been talking a lot about AI, like we always do. AI is a big topic around here, and specifically voice AI, and that is the kind of the hot topic today. So, hopefully some people join us, and if they do, welcome. Every few minutes, like we always do with the live stream, we'll jump in and say hello to people. But more than anything, we want to kind of get right into the meat and potatoes of today's topic so that even if you watch this later on, you can learn something new. So for those that have watched the video from the very beginning, you saw, as John said, my lips did not move. And there I was introducing today's Facebook Live, YouTube Live, all that good stuff. So I wanted to share that screen really quick, John, so that we can show them kind of, I guess, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtains here. So I'm going to pull that to the screen. All right. Give me a second. And there we go. So let's talk about this real quick, John. What are we looking at here?
This is the 11 Labs interface here for speech synthesis. And basically, you can go through here in this text box. You can type in whatever you want to have someone say, and then it has all these voices in here. Or you can do what we've done here and create a voice like you, Andrew B. And then it plays back.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Marketing Monday live stream.
In that
Today
voice.
we are talking artificial intelligence's latest marvel, AI voice technology.
So what's crazy about this right now is that is not a recording of me. I think I want to make sure that that's abundantly clear for those of you that have not seen AI for voice, or have you've never seen 11 Labs in action or in work. That is not a recording of me. John, let's show them in real time that that's not a recording of me by making up something completely random. And I'm going to tell you the random things to put in there so that it is
all right.
So this is a completely random sentence.
All right.
Where I'm going to say, okay, hello, everyone watching the live.
All right.
Thanks for hanging out.
Oh, a typo.
Everyone.
Everyone, thanks for hanging out.
And if there's anybody watching the video, if you tell me in the comments, I'll do my best to try to catch your name. And maybe we can get lucky and mention someone's name specifically in this, because you'll know, because we're streaming this in real time, that there's no absolute way that I would have been able to do that and recorded it all before this conversation. So I'm waiting to see if anything pops up through here. If not, it's okay. All right, it's all good. I'm going to just let's drop John's name. So we'll say, John, thanks so much for being here. We'll put that. Let's leave it at that. So this right here, again, is proving to you guys that we've not recorded this. This is John taking a, I guess, replica of my voice. That's the best way to say it.
Hello, everyone watching the live. Thanks for hanging out. And if there's anyone watching, tell me in the comments. John, thanks so much for being here.
There it is. John was able to take that text in real time and use it to take my voice, which is terrifying if this got into the wrong hands.
Right. I know.
And make me say something. So I wanted to just kind of get into the conversation of like, how is this helpful? Where has this been, Where can it be beneficial for your business?
What do we do with
All
it? This
that.
is cool,
Exactly.
but how do we use it, right?
Yeah. So why don't you talk to the audience a little bit, John, about kind of what are some use cases that you think, are like real practical use cases that people would have for this kind of software?
Yeah, one thing I can think of immediately is the reason why that I even created your voice, and it's because if I need just one statement, well, I guess I need to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing that we always preach on our podcast is repurposing content. And one of the ways that we keep steady episodes coming out is we repurpose content. We take old episodes, and now in our new format on our podcast, they're less than 10 minutes every episode. So we have all these hour-long episodes that we can cut up into specific episodes. But one of the things you need to do to make those make sense is have little stingers. Hey, John. Hey, Andrew. Welcome back. What are we talking about today? Things of that nature. So one of the best ways for me to implement this immediately, as soon as I was done with your voice, I had you say, hey, John, what are we talking about today? Took that audio, downloaded it, and slapped it into a new podcast file, and it released the next morning, that audio of you saying, what are we talking about today?
Yep. Yeah.
And so that's one way that we can really
massive.
do it. Another way is you can voiceovers,
Mm.
Yeah.
So I want to share that one a little bit because we have a friend who owns a recording studio,
Oh.
and his kind of the day job, I guess, is that there is a lot of audiobooks recorded, and they've been recorded for the last probably 3 or 4 decades of the owner of this company narrating audiobooks. And what they have found is that, here we are 30 years later, 40 years later, they want to change a phrase or a sentence or update something in that audiobook, but they don't necessarily want to bring that guy back to record the voice again, especially if it's as simple as like changing a couple of words or just fix a specific phrase.
Right.
And so what they've been able to do as an organization, as a company, is take the recordings of his voice that they've had for all of these decades, program the software to create a replica of his voice. And now whenever they need to do quick dubs, like you mentioned a minute ago, where it's like, hey, just change this word out or whatever, they don't have to bring him back into the studio to do that all over again, right?
Right.
So I really like the fact that you can, especially you, John, I'm not always available, right? Like I'm
Right.
a million miles a minute. There's things going on all the time. And if you are recording or about to release a podcast episode and you just need me to say, welcome back to another episode, or let's say read an ad or something like that, all you have to do now is type in a sentence and there you have it. You have the audio of my voice. And for most people, it's completely believable. Nobody would question the validity of whether it's me. That's, again, scary, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about this the other day with you about the fact that, like, if my recording of my voice or my voice model, if we were able to use that to call someone like my mom or one of my family members and say I was in need of help or needed credit,
What's my social security number?
payment, whatever, I need money. That's scary, right?
Very scary.
So it's one of these things that, like, the technology is incredible, and I find it in our line of work, and I think in other lines of work, it is incredibly helpful. But it comes with a great responsibility.
Absolutely.
There's some ethical pieces of it that I wanted to get into. So I did want to ask you that. What, in terms of ethics, where do you think we should draw the line when it comes to using AI to replicate human voices?
Well, I think you definitely need to have the permission of the person's voice that you're replicating. Number one, hands down. You got to tell them what you're doing and let them know that you're doing that. Otherwise, you're really being shady for that person, because I can make you say anything, Andrew, and I feel like I have a responsibility there to make sure that everything that I've output through there. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a file created, I feel like I've got to at least run it by you what you're going to say. I think as from a producer standpoint, it is making sure you're never typing anything into that text box that person would not say. And part of that is just keeping that marketing tone and the other things that we have in place, remembering all those, and that'll keep that from happening too. But from an ethics standpoint, you just need to care about the people whose voices you're replicating. I think you need to make sure that you're communicating with them when and how you're using it. And even if like with your case, I'm going to use it to create little stingers and stuff like that. I don't think I need to tell you every time that I, type in a sentence and output it, but you need to be aware that I'm using it with your voice,
That's
I
right.
think that's fair.
And I think that that's where there's going to have to be a lot of trust. I think there's going to be a level of accountability. I think that you're going to start to see from like a legal perspective, and I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but like from an HR and legal perspective, there's going to start to have to be like policies and contracts in place that talk about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, you can only use my voice in these ways. And if it is
Right.
ever found out that you've used my voice in any other way, like that's
Yeah.
defamation. Like that's a big
Right.
deal. Like, you can't use my voice in a way that is incriminating to me, that makes me look like I said something I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
And that's where it can get really like it draws the line. And I really do like that you talked about the fact that you have to have permission. Like I think first and foremost, like if you're going out on the internet and finding someone's voice and uploading it to this software, you're probably on that
doing
line
something shady. Yeah.
right? You're doing something shady.
Yeah. If you love their voice and would love to have that tone, that grit, whatever it is, the qualities of their voice that you're hearing that you would love to have, reach out to that person and ask them if you can use it.
Yeah, or hire them as a voiceover person. There's a lot of great voiceover talent out there. I think that that's where you have to be really cautious,
Yeah.
And I can see that happening. I could see
Oh,
people,
yeah.
I want Morgan Freeman, so I'm just going to go grab Morgan Freeman clips and upload it. It's like, and I think that that's where we need to leverage, technology like 11 Labs. I'm going to pull that back up right quick here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like some of their existing voice models that they've put in there. And
I'll go ahead and let's go with Alice. And I'll regenerate the same thing, and you can hear one of the other voices.
Hello, everyone watching the live. Thanks for hanging out. And if there's anyone watching, tell me in the comments. John, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great voices there that you can choose from. And the cool thing is, one, you could preview it before generating audio. And there's quite a number of, attributes of these individual voices. You can change some little things about each of the voices as well, some nuances. But I'd say that, again, like from an ethics perspective, honestly, if it's not your voice or it's not someone you directly work for who has asked you to implement this for them,
right?
I'd say that you're probably kind of on the borderline of doing something that's like unethical. Again, but I think that this technology is extremely valuable. To all the people hanging out on LinkedIn this morning, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
YouTube, Facebook, everybody who's watching this morning, thank you. Marketing Mondays over here at Beefy Marketing, and we're talking about AI and voice. Specifically, we're talking about a software called 11 Labs. If you've never heard of it before, it is amazing. And we're showcasing the features. We're kind of talking about the ethics. We're talking about the use cases. And John's actually going to pull in a voice like mine, and he can actually show you guys what it would say.
Hello, LinkedIn crowd. You guys rock.
Oh, he used a different voice. That's a good voice.
Hello, LinkedIn crowd. You guys rock.
So this is the one that we did. This was the quick one of your voice.
Oh, this is my quick voice. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So we can talk about that a little bit too. There's two different ways to generate the voices. You can do a quick one where it only needs a minute of audio, or a longer one where you need like 3 hours of audio, and it analyzes it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously the one that's quick is never going to be as good of a model as the one that we uploaded, 3 hours worth of clips of my voice. And you can see right there, it talks about it right there. It says professional, and that is a professional, replica or model of my voice.
Hello, LinkedIn crowd. You guys rock.
That was the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
It did have a little bit of a different tone to it. That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. That was awesome. So really cool. Again, it's not perfect. I want to make sure I get that across too. Like, it's not going to be identical, and it doesn't have necessarily as much character as me saying something. Like I actually sent a whole blog post worth of audio to a friend of mine, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" He's like, "Oh man, the content's really good. I'd say maybe you should record it a few more times just to put a little bit more energy into it." And I called him and I was like, "Would you believe it if I told you that wasn't me?" And he was like, "I would have had no idea. Like I thought it was you." So again, pretty believable. Really impressive stuff. So, John, I have some more questions for you here, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
Have you? I don't know if this is kind of a question out of the blue here, but have you ever encountered an AI voice that you thought was a real person?
Ooh, yes.
Talk to me.
Because I was in a phone menu one time, and I got a voice in there, and I thought I was talking to a real person for a minute, and then I realized that it was not. As you know, it just kind of sent me back through the loop.
Ah,
But yeah, I realized that the voice I was hearing sounded intelligent, but it was not actually,
intelligent.
conversing with me, right? It was using triggers off of words
Yeah,
I said, right? And
yeah.
that's the biggest difference. Yeah. So
This is
yeah,
like
I've definitely encountered it a few times, and it the first time I did, it was kind of scary. Like, what happens if this falls into the wrong hands? And going back to the ethics just one more time, because I had this thought and I didn't say it, and I don't want to forget it. But one of the biggest things I think is there will be probably some legislation coming out about this tool, and there will probably be something where you'll have to either put a stamp on it, like, this is
Mhm.
approved or whatnot, or this is AI generated. I think we're probably coming in the future, who knows how long, but we're probably looking at something like that to help keep those ethics in line, because where people aren't ethical, we have laws. So
Yeah, oh, 100%, man. I mean, I think that it's a matter of time. I mean, I went through a sales demo of a software recently. It's a virtual, I guess let's call it a virtual receptionist or a virtual sales assistant.
yeah.
And so when you call a number, and now I will say that their software was a little bit more transparent about it on the front end, probably because they're trying
Yeah.
to cover their butt from an FCC perspective.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, because they
yeah,
know they
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 know it's
know
coming,
too. Something's
right?
coming, so yeah.
So it kind of said right out of the gate, hey, this is John's AI assistant,
Mhm.
Bob. And I can't remember what the name exactly was. And it said, hey, how may I help you today? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm looking to work with somebody to build a new website. Okay, great. Yeah, I want to learn a little bit more about that. And it was a full conversational bot.
Mhm.
And it was absolutely impressive. Like it's fascinating as heck and
Yeah.
incredibly helpful. I mean, think about smaller entrepreneurs out there who might be solopreneurs. I think about our friend that has a building company, right? He's
Mhm.
out there and he's pretty much the only guy kind of fielding inbound sales calls while
Right.
the rest of his team guys are in the field. And if he's on job site doing a quote or he's up on
Mhm.
a roof or whatever the case may be, and he misses that call, well, that could be a missed out sales opportunity, right?
Yeah.
When I think about the fact that somebody could have answered the phone and had a full conversation with the person on the other end to
Yep.
say, "Hey, tell me more about your project. Where's it at? Where's it located? What's your budget?
Yeah.
What's your time frame?" Now, when our friend goes to call them back, it's
It's
like,
it's not a cold call at that point. He's got the
no,
info. Yeah, it's moving the needle along instead of keeping it pinpointed here and waiting for everyone to catch up. It keeps the needle moving.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of your biggest concerns about AI, like voice specifically, like this technology?
Well, one of them is probably something that no one's really considered out there, and that is voiceover talent. It's going to be harder for voiceover talent to get work unless, they're licensing their voice. And
That's
I think
good.
that's going to be the other thing too, because we've seen Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones sold his voice for AI, for licensing. And so you can get those voices. Absolutely. We can use them right now, but we got to go pay for a license to use those voices.
Yep.
And see, I think that's what we're probably looking into with this AI voice thing, is something similar to music where you get a license to use, you know, whatever
Yeah,
you want to use. Yeah. And
absolutely.
use cases as well. And that's where they're defining that. We were talking about the ethics of, they have to know what you're saying with their voice. Then through the license is how they're going to monitor that, I would bet.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that I think is going to change, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it just
Because
has
AI
to.
just launched this year, really, in the
Yeah, I
last
mean,
year. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's
ChatGPT came
been
public.
around, but the
Yeah.
way that AI is so widely, accepted and understood now is
Mm-hmm.
really just like in its infancy stages. And
Yeah.
that's the part that's interesting too. If we look back at the last decade or so of how social media has affected just kind of our society and our culture.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think AI voice technology is going to lead to more positive or negative social changes?
I think it's gonna, like everything, have both sides of the coin, because I mean, there's malicious folks out there. There's people who see this and their first thought is, "Ooh, what damage can I do with it?" And then you have just your pranksters that don't even know about. They're not thinking about the output of what's gonna come, the outcome. They're just thinking about the laugh they're gonna get in the moment. And I think it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few years, especially as these younger ones come up with this technology. You know, they grow
Yeah.
up with it, and what they're going to be able to do with it will just blow our minds by the time they're really rocking and rolling in it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, that's why it's so hard to talk about the other side of it. Cause it's like, I don't want to be
Hmm.
the voice for all the bad ways you can use this, even though like they're just brewing inside my head. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
well, it's even like the TikTok ban right now that's pending. You know, any app or website, you could use that to fish information and then sell it
oh,
to
yeah.
any government or whatever, you know, whether you're owned by anyone. So it's just there's always going to be those malicious people out there. Does it mean we do nothing and just let them do whatever? No, but I think we need to be careful when we're setting precedents for the precedents that we set.
Yeah, absolutely. I just
Mhm.
think that, when we kind of circle around and we think about the positive impact that,
Mhm.
AI and specifically voice AI can have, I think that
Yeah.
there's a lot there that is specifically in some industries that I think could be like game changing. Like we think about like customer service,
Mhm.
entertainment, education. I mean, healthcare is one that I really like equally scares me and is also really cool because imagine like if you call 911 for an emergency,
Yeah.
whereas sure there's some like inherent risk of providing too much information. I mean, imagine if AI, who has in theory endless knowledge, could give really, really impactful life-saving information when it's needed most,
Yeah.
like in a conversational approach, like not
Mhm.
just like, here's the WebMD of what to do in this scenario, but more like,
Right.
can you tell me what the breathing currently sounds like, or be quiet and put this phone up to the person so I can hear their breathing. Okay,
Right.
based on that,
Do this, yeah.
here are the things that you need to do next. Elevate the head, or make sure to check the airway, or there's a
Mhm.
number of different things that could be used in that scenario for like literally life or death situations, which
Mhm.
could be really fascinating. I think if we talk about just like from a regular entrepreneurship and business perspective, like the people that we're mostly talking to on this live
Mhm.
is how can we use it in our businesses today? Like, is this something I could use? Should I even be paying attention to this? Is, whatever.
Right.
I want to share a few examples that we're implementing in our business and that I've been telling people about. So if you're an author, for example, and maybe you want to do an audiobook version of your book, but maybe you don't have the money to pay a voiceover person. Maybe you don't have the money to spend recording your own voice and doing it the right way. Even though it's not a massive expense, you still might be really conscious of the cost. This could be a really good way for you to narrate your audiobook, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more cost effective. It could be a model of your voice, so it would sound like you. But I do want to bring the caveat that I mentioned earlier. It's not going to have the same amount of personality and tone that you are going to have, at least right now in its state of, kind of where it's at. And so you can't say, add an exclamation here, or be extra sad here, or be somber, or be, furious. You can't change the
Mhm.
tone of words. However, that phrase is, written, read,
Right.
um,
Wrote,
read,
written,
wrote,
I think.
written,
I think
uh,
written. Yeah.
is how it's going to sound. And so I think that it's important to note that if you have a lot of, if you want it to be more dynamic and characteristic of your own voice or some other voice, actor's tone, I
Mhm.
think as of right now, it still makes more sense to hire an expert. Just the same
Yeah.
reason why I would say that AI does not replace a copywriter.
No.
Copywriters still have a deeper psychology and understanding of persuasive copywriting, and
Mhm.
so I think there's a time and place for both. So I think that's a great use case for some people. Another way we're using it is we have all of these blog posts that we've written over the past
Yeah.
10 years on our website, and as of right now, that those blog posts are kind of just we
Sitting
wrote them.
there,
They're
yeah.
just sitting there. They're a bit stale, right? So there's two things we're doing. We're transcribing our existing blog, or not transcribing. We're taking our existing blog posts and running them through the software and creating audio versions that we
Mhm.
can just put on the actual individual blog page.
Yeah.
So those people, that want to listen instead of read can do that. But also, I'll share, John, when you pull that recording up, I'll share your screen here in a second. We
Yeah, I'll
actually,
go ahead.
John took a blog post that we wrote and turned it into a more Cliff Notes podcast script, and actually turned one into more of a scripted podcast style. So I'm going to pull up the screen again and see if John wants to play that for us once he finds it.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, here goes.
I think it's this one.
Yep, I think so.
Oh, it was.
In
we
today's
go.
digital first world, your website is more than just an online brochure. It's the lifeline of your business, your primary tool for attracting customers and driving growth. But what happens when that tool is broken? Let's face it, your web guy sucks. Yes, we said it, and you've probably thought it, missed deadlines, outdated pages, and a site that's more of a digital ghost town than a moneymaker. This isn't just frustrating, it's costing you. Lost customers, dwindling sales, and a dream of a successful business that's fading away. But what if I told you there's a way out? A team of not just web designers, but marketing experts who understand that your website is.
Yep.
I mean, that's so cool. We literally were
Yeah.
able to take something that we wrote
I know
and
it
make
keeps going,
sound,
but yeah.
make it sound like a podcast episode, right?
Right.
Or it could be used for a video, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to take those recordings right there and then just go find B-roll that goes over the top of it. And then we have a video right there. And I don't have to get you to sit there and record that audio for however long, an hour or so, it would take.
Yep.
So it's going to speed you up. It's going to make you more efficient. And I think like with all new emerging technology, there's always something scary about it, but you need to learn to embrace it and how to navigate those challenges rather than just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
For sure. I love the comment you made about like the efficiency of it, because as you said that, I thought of something I hadn't thought about until right now, but even being able to listen to a script back in my own voice helps me understand, do I like where this script is at? Even though it might not be my exact tone or my exact, little nuances that I would put on my voice, I could still hear it back and say, did I like the overall message there? Because I heard it for the first time. Right. It's one thing to write it or read it, but to hear it back is like, oh, I don't like.
It sounded better in my head as a phrase that we've used quite a bit around the office, And so, when you get it out of your head and actually hear it, like, that doesn't sound good, and you can kind of, when you're recording the voiceover, you hear it back almost when it's too late, so to speak. It's not because you're still there tracking, but you've already done it once, and it's a waste of time of sorts. I mean, we can get into the weeds on that, but it's just gonna, for something that I would just want to say this. I don't really need a video of me doing it. Just use the audio. Audio is so powerful. Like I think we undercut the value of audio.
Yep, 100%. I mean, for me, I don't know. I think it's like a game changer in a lot of different ways for us to repurpose content. We talk about repurposing content all the time. And if there's companies out there like us who've got 10 years or longer of blog posts they've written, and they're trying to figure out what to do with that content, and they're like, man, we did all this work, but it just sits there. It's stale. This is a great way to, breathe life back into that content, whether repurpose as a podcast or just putting the audio there to make it easier for somebody. Because I know that I've been on a website before because I'm just like in the car doing voice search and I've come across an article and it says something I want to read, but I'm like, I'll have to read this later. But if there was a play button and I could just listen to that back right in the car, it's like, dude, you just made a blog post feel like a podcast episode. It doesn't even have to be purposed as a podcast to have that same level. And not to even mention all of the pros that this has from a accessibility perspective. People that have a hard time reading or learning this. It's like I have a couple of friends that can read. Obviously, most of us can read, but they process information better when they hear it versus when they read it, because they feel like they're slower readers. And so if they can press play and digest that information faster, I mean, again, it adds value to all the way around, both, from a user experience perspective and accessibility perspective. And at the end of the day, I guess like a consumption perspective, like how fast can I get you to like consume my information? Because the more you know about what I know, the better chances that we have an opportunity to work together. So I think voice AI stuff is really cool. So again, we're keeping this one short and sweet today. Not a lot of people hanging out this morning, which is totally cool. These videos we're going to do every single week, whether you're live watching with us or we're just talking together, because this is stuff that we believe that you should know about. We want to be the ones bringing it to you guys if you haven't heard about it yet. I know on LinkedIn, the most of the people that are watching this morning have probably heard about this stuff. So, thanks for listening to me, even if you do know. But if you haven't yet checked it out, again, the tool is called 11 Labs is the software. John, what is the actual website? Is it 11labs.com?
It is 11labs.io.
.io. Okay, cool.
And you can, it's actually like ELEVEN labs, but if you type the numbers, you'll find it.
Cool. So 11labs.io, make sure you guys check that out. If you are not, I guess, familiar with AI yet, but you are looking for ways to incorporate AI into your business and you're looking to do it on maybe a smaller scale, maybe you're not ready for voice just yet, there's an amazing tool that we released that we call Wingman. It's trustyourwingman.com. And this is a website where we actually have built an entire marketing CRM. There's AI built in, from automation, scheduling out social media posts, managing your leads, following up, things like missed call text backs. We talked a little bit about that earlier. You miss a call, we automatically text your client on your behalf. This is the one thing that this is our hard sell. This is the one thing we're promoting on Marketing Mondays is Wingman. So check that out, trustyourwingman.com. If you're looking to get started with AI in your business, our tool has a lot of incredible AI tools. There's even an AI Facebook ads builder. So if you don't know anything about Facebook ads, but you want to launch Facebook ads for your company, it will actually build out an ad campaign for you. It makes it really, really easy. We've done all the hard work. There's some AI tools. So if you've never played with ChatGPT and you want to see how AI can work for you, give us a call, request a demo, check it out. We would love to kind of give you a walkthrough. You can even press that little chat box at the bottom of the screen there where it says have a question. That'll text us and one of our team members will get back with you. I hope that this information around 11 Labs was helpful or insightful at the very least. John, this has been fun, man. Thanks.
Absolutely. Before we go, I want to leave them with a business growth hack. You ready?
Heck yeah, do it, man.
All right. Missed communication is miscommunication. Missed communication is miscommunication. Don't miscommunicate with your clients. Don't miss the communication.
I love it, man. That's gold. All right, guys, we'll see you next Monday.
Later.